Hi, I'm Trey and welcome to one of my colouring videos. I've been working recently, well actually the last 2 or 3 years, on what works best for me, and I've now narrowed things down for what works best for me, and I'm going to share that today. It'd be my favourite coloured pencils, what paper they work best with in what books, some of my colour combinations, and also how I store my favourite projects and how it's helped me with my colouring journey. I'm going to pass on first my favourite pencils and why. I've tested quite a lot of pencils over the last few years, and I've narrowed it down to the pencils that I would buy again, because not all the pencils I've tried have worked for me, and because I buy mostly books from Amazon, and I also I have a subscription now from Colour in Heaven, and I've needed to choose pencils that works best with those papers in those books. And for me, for a lot of years, I use Marco Refine. It's still a very good starter pencil for people getting into colouring, a good budget pencil, and I still use those. But I wanted to get something a little bit better pigment, and the pencils I finally discovered was the Castle Art Soft. I got the 72 set, and then eventually I got the 120 set, and they are my go-to pencil mostly. Really do like them. They work on quite a few of my books really well, and I now, to keep a track of my favourite pencils and what books they work with, I have a little notebook, and this has been invaluable at doing this, because I was forgetting what pencils work with what when I was picking up a book. So I have my favourite pencils listed in here, but I also have notes of what works best with different books. And the Colour in Heaven magazines, the Castle Art and the Castle Art Gold, because I have those now, that's one of my favourites. And also the, let's have a look, the printed Amazon printed books. I really struggle with pencils that will work with that. And the Castle Art, I struggle with them. I don't get the best results, but they work okay. But I do have other pencils that work best with those. So my little book now, notebook, is going to be with what works best with what books and my colour combinations, because that's something else I've been working on. So Castle Art Soft Touch and the Castle Art Gold, which I think are awesome, so much better. They're my favourite pencils, and I got the Castle Art Gold because they're a thicker pencil. Now, like most people, when you get into colouring, I started with the thinner pencils, the 3mm, and there's nothing wrong with those. But I find they go down a lot quicker, and they also have certain limitations. So I started to work on getting thicker lead pencils. So that's one of the reasons why I got the Castle Gold. But they're awesome. They go down so nice. My other pencils that I really like is the Brunfunner. Now, I tried the Brunfunner and realised it worked really well with the Amazon paper and my Colour in Heaven magazines. Really good budget pencil. I got the 120 set, the 3mm, and I found them very thin to use, but lovely colours and work really nice. So then I tried the 120, and they're easier to hold, but very similar to the round 120 thinner ones. And to be honest with you, I could have got away with not getting these. They aren't that much different. But I wanted a set of more colours, so I waited for quite a long time till something came in stock at a good price, and I realised as well, I learned that Calor is the same company, so they're actually exactly the same pencils, and I got a 180 set for a better price than the Brunfunner 180, so that's why I got the Calor. Lots of colours. They even have some metallics that work really, really nice. And they were under, they were £20 odd for these, under £30, and I was really pleased that I use these a lot. They are the same consistency as the Brunt Fun Around and the same lead size. And I've used these a lot in Amazon print books and also my Colour in Heaven. Then I decided that I would really like a thicker lead of those pencils, and I found out that Shuttle Art actually is the same company, and they do a 4mm version of those pencils. So I got their 174 set. They do 180 in Brunt Funner at 3.8mm, I think, as well, and that's something when I come to replace the Brunt Funners I'll go for. But these are the 174 4mm set of pencils, exactly the same colours, maybe slightly different numbers, but exactly the same colours, and they do go down slightly differently with it being maybe a thicker lead, and the ingredients will be slightly different, but they're a really nice pencil and I like using those, so that's why I got those ones. So it seems a bit strange to have 4 sets of the same pencil, but they do have slightly different ways of doing them, and I go through them a lot. I do a lot of colouring. Now the other pencils I like to use is the Arteza. I got the 120 3.8mm, I think. These are really nice pencils, but I find they don't work very well in all my books. But they do work really well on sketch paper, and that's something I've sort of like got into of late, and I'll show you what I eventually got. These have different colours in them than my other sets. They go down really nice, they blend really nice, and they're one of my favourite pencils. They're not as soft as Prisma colour, but they are quite nice. They're like an in-between for me, Brunt Funner and Prisma, and they're closer to the Prisma kind of quality. My other big set of pencils, and again I got these because they're 4mm pencils, is the Artena, and I was really surprised by these. They weren't expensive. They have 150 colours. They're really nice colours, and they go down really good, but they're a harder core. But they're one of the only harder core pencils I've been able to get away with. I've tried a few and I just can't get away with them, but these are nice. They go down smoother than some of the others, and they aren't as difficult to layer. I use these quite often for fine detail, and they are a nice pencil, and at a good budget price. Now I have a set of Prismas. These are my only higher grade pencil that I have. They were a gift. They weren't ones I would have bought myself because of the price. I love them. Lots of people have used them and done reviews on these. You know, there's not much I can say about these. They work in most of my books, but I really like to get my best out of these on sketch paper, because if you're paying a lot of money for a set of pencils, I want to get the best out of them. Awesome pencils, and I love the colours on those. Now I do have one or two of my favourites of 72 sets. Art and Fly, majorly surprised by these. They go down so nice. I do all my swatches, by the way, on sketch paper, and you get the best out of these pencils on sketch paper, but they also work really nice in Amazon books and my Colour in Heaven magazines, and Hannah Carlson as well. I have one or two of her books, and these work really nice in those. I would love a 120 set in them, but you know, they haven't got 120 set in these at the moment. My other favourite of 72 is the Calor. I think these are a French company. I've tried these before. They didn't work very well for me because they kept on breaking. But when I got a manual crank pencil sharpener, I have a Swordfish and I have a Helix. These are great. They don't break and I can get the best out of them now. Again, I would love 120 in those, but they don't offer them. They blend lovely. They work in most of the books I've got and really well on sketch paper. And recently I got the Artix coloured pencils. These are 3.8mm. I think they only do a 72 set, and I do wish they would do a bigger set because they are awesome. They were in England, UK. They were £30 for the 72, and for the quality, awesome budget pencil. The only thing I would say is there's not enough pale colours in these, so I would love a 720 set if they went into that to get more colours ranges, because I'm having to go into other pencil sets to make up on the lighter sets that aren't in this, but they really are a nice pencil. So these are my favourite pencils. They're more flexible. I get the best results out of those pencil brands. Now, one of the things I struggle with is backgrounds, and I've decided to try new stencils. I've never used stencils much at all. I mean, a little bit in my card making, but not that much. I got a pack off Amazon. It's got lots of different patterns. There's honeycomb, zigzags. There's just unusual patterns that will make good backgrounds. There's animal skin patterns. So that's quite good. And brick walls, circles, stars, anything really that would make an interesting pattern. And I also decided, when I first got them, I decided to try and use my ink pads and my metallic paints with them on colouring books. And now I can get away with using those on my cards, but it wasn't tidy enough for me in my books, colouring books, so I decided to use colour pencils with them. Now, this one here I used recently, I'm in the process of using in this book, because I like this book. It's got realistic flowers in, and I use it to do, have a little go doing shading and such like for realistic flowers. So I find it a good learning curve really, and I've decided to have a go at doing a background using this pattern. I'll just put it on and drew round on the inside with a pencil, coloured pencils, and then coloured round the individual squares and oblongs, and then I'm now doing like a glowy effect for each one. Now, yes, it's going to take time, but I don't mind that because I like that dry effect. If I use pastel pencils, for instance, I'd have to put fixative down. I don't want to be messing about with that. I just want something that's simple for me, and I've always given myself the challenge of just working with colour pencils because I like that effect. So that's what I'm going to be doing in future. After I've had a little bit of a play with these, I'll try and do some tutorials how they've worked out in case anybody else is interested in that. But that's my idea for doing backgrounds. Now, I don't do a lot of backgrounds because a lot of what I do are quite detailed designs. But ones that are not as detailed, you can fit some interesting shapes in the background of it to fill in the paper a bit. I'll be using those stencils. I did a video on how to pick colours and using a colour wheel. You can find a colour wheel free online, and I used that for many years. I just treat myself to one of these. It's a little bit quicker for me, and this one has the dark colours on one side and the light, on the other side, and I use this a lot. As soon as I pick up a new project, this is the first thing I do, pick my colours, and then I pick my pencils and work out what I'm going to use. So this has been invaluable really for me. Now, the other thing I decided to do, and I'll resisted doing this for quite a long time, is scanning and printing on sketch paper. And I found a a company called Stationery Island, and they do their own sketch paper. They've changed the fronts on these now, but they still do this paper. Now, there's 120 pages, which is 60 sheets in these sketchbooks. The paper is an off-white. They actually also have a piece of vellum that you can use to avoid smudging. It's an off-white colour. It has a very, very slight texture, and it's a 130 GSM, a nice thickness. Now, I use these for pencils. I don't use any other medium. I'm not sure how they would work with other medium, but it does say dry sketches and drawings, so I got this specifically for pencils. This is an A4 size and it's perforated, so it's easy to take out. And I found by using this paper, it has, for me, really got the best out of my coloured pencils. Now, I take books apart now, and I scan them and keep them digitally and print out only what I want. And again, I do that for cost-wise. Now, another thing I do cost-wise is I print on draft. You don't need to have it really thick, dark lines. It's just, you don't need it. So print on draft, and I've used Zest Solution to blend on printing like this, and it doesn't run the lines at all. I've had no problems with that. This one is from Artena Lazareva, 100 coloured pages line art. This is one of the designs I scanned that book. I haven't got around to colouring that yet, but just wanted to share how I print out. The other thing I do as well, because you can get creative with your printing out, is I print out in different colours. Now, this is sepia effect for the line art, and it's got a slight bit of shading in this, grayscale. The original was slight grayscale. This is from A Colour in Heaven, The Creatures of the Night issue. And I decided to try doing sepia. I haven't coloured a sepia line art colour before, so this will be a new one. But again, it'll be interesting to see how that works out, because it's interesting to get creative with your colour of your line art, the actual colour you use to print it out on. You don't get this option in books, you see. And the other one is, and I've done this before, I've printed this in like a pale blue. Again, it's almost like a draft effect, so it saves on your ink. This is A Colour in Heaven Flower Girls collection, and it's got a slight grayscale effect on the original art, and it's come out in the pale blue. I'm hoping, you see, for like a vintage effect, so it'll change how my pencils look, but it's going to be interesting, and I'll share my completed projects when I've done these on my Facebook page for people to check out. So that's another reason why I like to print, because you can get creative that way and get different effects with your pencils. I decided to set myself up a portfolio. I got a couple of books from Amazon that were in a set, and they are plastic sheets in, and I can get 2 pieces of art in each one. And I keep my favourites in here. It helps me remember my colour combinations. I thought that worked well, and it also highlights for me how I've progressed, and it keeps my favourites protected. So I found that a really nice thing to do, and I'll be getting more of these in the future. Now, I wanted to showcase this one. In the other earlier part of this video, I mentioned you can print with different coloured lines when you have the printing option, and I printed this design with blue lines, and I really like the effect. So I wanted to show a completed project that was coloured, printed on sketch paper and using blue. for the line art, and it was nice. It gives a different effect. It's really subtle. So that's a design with dark black line art, and that's with blue, and I do like the subtle effect, so I'll be doing more of that. And also this also highlighted for me how the coloured pencils worked much better with the sketch paper, and influenced me going in that direction, as the books that I feel the paper doesn't work as well for me, I'm taking them apart and printing them onto sketch paper, and that way I feel I get more value for money out of my pencils, and also I'm happier with my finished projects. The pencils go down much easier and they're more vibrant, and also it's encouraged me to expand the themes I use and try. So I'm going for more detailed designs now, which I didn't do before. I'm even having a little go at more realistic skin tones. I'm doing portraits, which I didn't do before. I still love my fantasy designs, mind you, I must be honest. I'm doing more fantasy skin tones and being more creative with that. And I'm also doing scenes, indoor scenes and outdoor scenes. I'm doing birds, I'm doing animals. Again, this was not something I did before because I was very daunted by that, but now I've picked my favourite pencils, the ones that work for me. I'm happier with the results I'm getting with that. And I'm also transferring these books into digital and printing on better paper for me and the pencils. I'm hoping to even improve my attempts at doing scenes and animals and portraits and everything, really. So that's why I wanted to share this portfolio idea with folks, to give you an idea of what you could try and how you can store your favourite projects, and how it will help you map out your progress and work out what works for you. So that's the end of this informative and video of how my colouring has progressed and how I'm going to be taking it in the future. I'm open to do videos on colour combinations to share with folks, and how I work those stencils, and see I can do some tutorials on that. So when I'll come back with that, I'm not quite sure because I've got my DIY to do, but I'll work it round that. I'm sure I will give myself a break from painting the walls to colouring paper. So I'll say bye for now, and I'll see you again, hopefully in the near future, with another video.